So welcome to our mini class today. Today our theme is around rest, and it's not about you know taking 2-hour naps when we're exhausted, but really giving ourselves the ability to rest throughout the day. And even if it's only 1 or 2 minutes that we kind of stop, relax our bodies, focus on our breath, and bring our attention back to the moment, that can be incredibly restorative. And many of us have been taught that busy is better, right? If we're not overwhelmed with busyness, we're not productive enough, we're not good enough, and all of that crap that I'm still trying to shed from my conditioning. But taking those moments to just tune in, to do nothing, incredibly restorative. So we're going to do a mixture of resting and gentle movement today, and tuning into how we can rest in different positions in our bodies, right? So normally we think of rest as being like lying down, but we can also rest sitting or even standing. But we're going to start lying down today, which is one of my favorite ways to rest. And we're going to use a little bit of a supported back bend for those who are interested in doing that. It's optional. And the idea is that so much of our time we spend sitting, but we spend sitting in this kind of crunched over rounded shoulder position. And it actually takes away some of the functioning of our internal organs when they're compressed by this sitting posture. So we're going to work against that with our lying down posture. So if you have a blanket, and if you're watching the replay and you don't have a blanket, you can always just press pause and go and get one. So I have one of these Mexican blankets that are really common for doing yoga props. And I just have it folded twice. So I folded it once across the center and then once again. And then I'm going to take it on the longest side. Okay, so we're going to use this to support the spine. The easiest thing to do is just to roll your blanket along the length, and that will work. Sometimes people feel that it's a little bit hard to balance on it. So the other option is to take your blanket and you're going to make it into kind of an accordion. So if I take it and I bring it to the ground and I just fold it back and forth on itself, right? So now I have this folded blanket that's nice and neat, and it's kind of flat so that I have this nice surface to lie on. So you're going to put that on the ground or your mat if you're using a mat. I would recommend, if your blanket has some fringe like mine does, that you put the fringe at the top where your head is going to go, and you put the nice flat end where your lower back is going to go. So you can place your blanket, and then you'll sit on the ground just in front of it. So the blanket comes right up to your tailbone or sacrum, and then you're going to roll your body back over your blanket. Now, if you don't have a blanket, you can just lie down on the ground. It's absolutely fine. You want to make sure your head is supported. So if your blanket is short and your head is off the blanket, you might want to bring a pillow under your head. And if your head is on the blanket, but it feels like you're tilting back a little bit, then you're going to take the end of your blanket and just roll it under so that it's comfortable. And then the idea here is that we're going to take the arms to the sides and find a really comfortable position where it feels like there's a bit of opening across the chest and shoulders, but it's not feeling like you're being strained or there's any kind of tension there. So you might need to bring your arms lower to find that easeful position. They might be comfortable a little higher. You might need to adjust a little bit. So take your time and get comfortable. If you worked with the blanket and you've got it behind your back and you're thinking, this isn't working for me, just roll off to your side, get it out of the way, and come back down. So really, this position with the arms is going to help to open the chest as much as anything. And then as you get there and get comfortable, just letting your body start to soften and relax. And we're going to spend a couple of minutes checking in. So noticing, first of all, how your body is feeling right now. So maybe just an overall kind of picture. Are you tired? Are you stressed? Is your body aching or sore in any way? Does it feel relaxed? Does it feel open? Does it feel constricted? So just an overall kind of picture is, how's my body right now? And then see if you can notice specific areas where you might be holding a little bit of tension in your body. Right, so as I lie here, I'm aware that even though I thought I got my shoulders into a really comfortable position, I can feel that there's a little holding. So I'm just going to adjust my shoulders and let them really relax. Your knees can be bent or straight, and I'm noticing that I'm holding a bit of tension in my hips. So I'm just letting my feet come apart a bit, let my knees fall together. So there's no effort there. So notice what's true in your body. Make adjustments as you need to. So I'm often aware of tension in my jaw, so I'm bringing some awareness to that and softening. So you can notice where you tend to hold tension and see if you can just be aware of that. Maybe add a little softening if possible. And then let's start to tune into the breath and how the breath moves the body. So feel that gentle rise and fall of your breath. Follow it in and out of your body. Be curious about your breath. And the exhale is the phase of the breath where we tend to find a little more ease and relaxation. So as you exhale now, soften even more. And then start to tune into your mind. So we might have a relaxed body, but a mind that is going 100 miles an hour. So notice if that's true for you. And there's nothing you need to do if you find that your mind is busy. So there's no point in trying to stop your brain from thinking. That doesn't work. But perhaps if your brain is busy and it feels a little bit stressful, you could connect with compassion. And whatever you discover today, compassion is a wonderful antidote to any of the judgment that we might come up with as we practice. Can you enter a space of compassion, of noticing? And then also be aware of what kind of mood you're bringing to this session. You can name it with compassion, with care, with kindness. So again, we're not trying to eradicate or push anything away, our emotions, our thoughts, our pain, anything. Simply tuning into what is true in this moment for you. And when we tune into compassion, we let go of the struggle to change. Right? And that struggle to change is aggression against who we are in this moment. So moment to moment, tuning in, letting compassion arise, softening in the body, the breath, the mind, and the emotions where possible. And greeting our tension with compassion, our holding and constriction with compassion. We'll take a few more breaths here, as if you're breathing in pure, clean energy, fresh air, sending it to your cells from your lungs through your circulatory system, rejuvenating the body. When we relax, we open space for circulation to move more freely. So when you're ready, I'm going to roll over to one side. So take your time. You're just going to roll, if you're on a blanket, in fact, if you're not on a blanket, you don't need to move at all. But if you're on a blanket, you can roll to one side and just remove that blanket or whatever has been supporting you and come back onto your back. So I mentioned one way of sort of increasing the spaciousness in the body and allowing circulation to move more freely is relaxation. Another way is through contraction and release. So, and stretching the muscles. So we're going to work with that a little bit as well. So bringing the knees up toward the chest. Knees can be apart if that's more comfortable, but together. Bringing the hands to the knees. If it's more comfortable behind the knees, that's fine too. And we'll move the knees slightly toward the body and then away from the body. So it's a small movement, and depending on the length of your arms and how much flesh is in between, the movement will be smaller or bigger. So just really engaging with your own body, your own limitations, and finding a way, just bringing in a little movement that feels comfortable for you here. If forward and back doesn't feel right, then maybe some circles or side to side movement. And then let's keep one knee in as we release the other foot to the floor. And you can just let the hands rest on your body or on the ground. If you like, you can hold your leg, but that's not necessary. So we're going to stretch and release the muscles in the back of the leg. We're also contracting and releasing the front of the leg. So as we lift the leg, the hamstrings stretch, the quadriceps contract, and then we release. So extending and releasing. And you want to go till you just feel the first gentle stretch and then release. And in this way, the body learns to trust that we're not going to go too far, too fast. We ease into the movements. I used to be a real pusher when it came to yoga. I would really try to force my body, thinking that getting into the position was the point. And I've since learned that getting into the position is really aside from the point. The point is finding ease and movement in the body. And when we force ourselves, it's actually counterproductive. The body tenses up and resists. So you can hold the leg in the air now and circle your ankle around. Your knee can be as bent as it needs to be comfortable. Again, if you want to hold on, you can. For some people, if the legs are tight and the arms are shorter, it's hard to hold on. It strains the shoulders, so really tuning in. Circle one way, then the other. Good. And then relax your foot and give your leg a little shake. And then flex your foot, point your heel toward the ceiling and squeeze up through your leg. Squeeze gently through your core, and we'll lower the legs slowly to the floor. If you feel any strain in your lower back or in your abdomen, bend the knee and bring it down that way. Otherwise, holding here as we bring the leg all the way to the ground. And then once the leg gets there, relax. Relax the leg, relax the belly, the lower back. Let the foot fall out to the side for a moment. And maybe feel the energy in that leg. So I can kind of feel some warmth and some tingling as that leg relaxes. And see what's noticeable for you. Okay, let's bend that leg that you've straightened. We'll bring the other knee in. And again, you can hold on or not. As we gently lift to extend the leg and bend the knee. So coming into and out of that stretch. Again, really honoring and moving slowly towards your easeful stretch here and then releasing. So we're never creating a situation where the body has to resist and tense up to protect us from ourselves. Good, you can leave the leg in the air with a nice easeful stretch. Circle your ankle around. Circling one way and then the other. And relax your foot. Give the leg a little shake. Good, and then flex your foot. You can move the leg a little away as you need to really engage. Maybe out here, maybe a little closer, maybe a little bent, that's fine. And then we're going to, again, engage the core, so the abdominal muscles, the lower back. And keep breathing as you slowly lower the legs. You don't want to hold your breath. So the leg is nice and engaged, the belly, the lower back. If there's any strain, lower the leg bent rather than straight. Take your time. You can even hover over the ground for a moment to feel that engagement. And then slowly release. Let the foot relax out to the side. Let the hip relax, the thigh, the whole leg. And notice what happens when you relax. What do you feel? What are you aware of? Right, and then let's bend the knee. We'll bring both knees into the chest. And here we'll stretch both legs, and you can either reach behind as you stretch and bend the knees, or the arms can move with the legs. So as the legs stretch, the arms can reach up and out, and then back into the center. So reaching up and out and in. So again, alternate would be to simply hold the legs as you stretch them, and then back in. And then as your knees come back to the chest this time, we can release them back to the floor. Arms can come down to your sides now, palms facing the ground. And bring your heels in so they're underneath your knees. And we'll work with a bridge pose to strengthen the legs and engage the legs a little bit more, while keeping as much as possible the upper body, the neck, the shoulders, the face, the jaw relaxed. In fact, let's take the arms and let them relax too. So we'll take them out to the sides a little bit, completely relax, maybe palms face the ceiling if that's comfortable, or face the ground if you prefer. So legs is the focus here, upper body, arms relaxed. We're going to press into the feet. So the belly moves back toward the spine, the tailbone starts to lift, and then engaging the legs, engaging the hips and buttocks, slowly lifting the spine up, feeling the legs work, the legs lifting the upper body while the upper body stays relaxed. And then releasing to come back to the ground. When you get to the ground, relax for a moment. So let your legs relax, let your hips relax, buttocks relax. And then again, we'll press into the feet, start to lift the tailbone, peeling the spine up like your legs are doing the work to lift your upper body, which is completely relaxed, like a rag doll, and then releasing down. So let's do this a couple more times. Every time you come down, pause and reconnect with that deep softening in the body. And then you can come into the pose again. And again, release, relax at the bottom for a moment. And we'll do one more time. This time when you come to the top, if you like, you can hold for a few breaths. Again, see if you can work to feel strong in your legs without creating tension. You might feel some shaking as your legs work, that's fine. And then upper body relax. So really tune in and notice, am I clenching my shoulders, my hands, my jaw? Can I relax more in the upper body? Engage more with my lower body without creating tension. And when you do notice tension, that's a really good indication that it's time to release. If you can't, to release the pose if you can't release the tension in the pose. So when you're ready, slowly release. Hips back to the ground, relax completely. And we'll just give a little shake. So you can just shake your legs a little. Just releasing any tension in the legs, shaking the hips. Even bounce a little if that feels good to you. Good. And then coming back to a centered position, and we'll work with a spinal twist now. So letting the knees go down to one side. Don't worry about how you're breathing here. Just keep the movement nice and easeful. Coming back to center, over to the other side. You can pause in the twist on each side as long as that feels good for your body. Maybe even take a breath there and feel what's present. Feel the stretch, feel the sensation, sensations, whatever is present for you. Maybe one more to either side. Great. And then we're going to come to the center, but roll the whole body to the side now and use your opposite hand against the ground to support you coming upright. So we're going to come right around onto all fours, onto hands and knees. And so here, bringing some balance back to the spine after the twist, you can arch and round the back. Here you might want to connect with your breath. So inhaling as you arch, exhaling as you round. And if that feels good for you, continue like that. If you want a little bit more stretch and child's pose feels good to you, instead of just rounding, you can round and move your hips back towards your heels. So come back to all fours on your inhale, round and release back on your exhale. Great. Now we're going to spend a few breaths in child's pose for those who are comfortable. You want to check that your knees and your ankles are comfortable. So an alternative would be to be up a little higher without the pressure on your knees and your ankles. Another option, especially if you've got a little bit of a belly, which I do, you can bring your knees apart and let your belly come between your legs so that you can breathe without restriction here. So your hands can be under your head, or your head can be on the ground, or you can be up on your forearms if bringing your head to the ground isn't available to you. So we'll take a few breaths here. Technically, this isn't considered a pure rest, even though it's a restful pose, simply because the breath is a bit constricted in child's pose for most people. So we'll take a little bit of a rest here in this restful position. If your body feels better moving, you can come back to all fours and do that movement again. then when you're ready to come up out of child's pose, come up slowly. And then find a comfortable seated position. It could absolutely be on a chair, couch, side of your bed. I've got a meditation cushion here. You might have something similar, or it could be folding up your blanket again and sitting on your blanket. So it's generally much, much easier to sit on the ground if your hips are a little bit higher than, even higher than your knees is great. So that allows your hip flexors to release, the lower back to come into its natural position. And there should be as little effort to sit as possible. So when your pelvis creates the base, and we talked about this last week, the base of the pose with your sit bones anchored down, your spine then has the ability, if the pelvis is neutral, to come into its natural curve. So the spine's not straight. It goes in at your lower back, out at your upper back, in at your neck. And we want to have those natural curves. It allows us to feel balanced and strong. The shoulders are over the hips and the head is over the shoulders. So we'll sit for a couple of minutes in this kind of a rest position. Noticing if you need to adjust your position to be more comfortable. You don't have to be cross-legged. It could be legs stretched out in front of you, whatever's comfortable. And so ideally we find ways to rest that aren't just lying in bed or lying on the couch, but that we can rest while we're sitting and even ultimately while we're standing. And resting is really about coming back to our center, bringing compassion for whatever it is, softening whatever tension we may be aware of and able to soften, and tuning into our thoughts. So if the mind is really busy, tuning into our thoughts with compassion. And if we're able to bring our attention to the present moment through breath, through sound, through sensation, and practice that kind of meditative mindfulness of bringing the attention back to this moment. So we'll sit for another short while, and as we sit, I'm going to share with you a chant today that is a chant that is about bringing peace into all parts of our being. And so finding peacefulness in our rest to whatever extent we are able. So you can simply listen to the chant, maybe notice what parts of your body right now feel peaceful. Even if it's just the tip of your baby finger, where can you find peace in your body? Shanno mitra shamvarunaha Shanno bhavatvaryama Shanna indro bruhaspatihi Shanno vishnurukramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaramavatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now bringing the palms together in front of the chest, in front of the heart. And if it feels right to you, you might make an intention to tune into your body's need for rest a little more regularly as you go through your day and your week. Pause even for a moment to tune into where you feel peace in your body, where you can let go of tension, and allow your body, mind, emotions, your spirit to take regular mini breaks to rejuvenate through your day. Namaste.